There we go. So thank you guys for coming out today, for making it in person, making it online, watching the recording, and all of that fun stuff. So I'm going to show you guys like kind of where we're starting with Ignite, the pre-launch, just to kind of get an idea of everyone who's here. Who here is doing Ignite for the very first time? Hey, Edie, Brittany, birthday girl, woo! Yay! Awesome. Got plenty of seats everywhere. Let's toss this out of the way. Good to see you guys.
Nice to see you.
Hey. So I wanted to ask who here has done Ignite in any of its forms in the past? You got a handful, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anyone online that's done Ignite in the past?
Me,
Who was that?
Katrina.
Awesome. There you go. So there's a handful of us that have done it. And I think we've all done kind of the crash course version, right? Like the 1 day full on 10-hour event or 8-hour event. Okay. Who here remembers as much as they can share from their experience from that 1 day crash course with Ignite? In person or on Zoom land? Yeah. Okay. All right. Nothing. So Ignite is meant to be something more intimate, a little bit more smaller group setting, definitely not as large as Bold. Like Bold, we're expecting 2 or 3 offices combined, a total of several hundred agents. You figure 200 plus the coach, plus the captains, you kind of get into a granular type of space. Ignite is really designed to say, okay, we have this giant thing called real estate and an even bigger thing called our goals, right? And then we're just trying to figure out, wow, what can I do on a day-by-day, moment-by-moment basis to navigate that world of real estate? Where do I put my attention onto? It's not like any of us in this room have 15 hours a day to focus on real estate. Quite honestly, at most, we may have 4 hours. We're supposed to work 8 hours a day, full-time work, but genuinely, we have 4 solid hours of, hey, I can focus on what I need to get done with the best energy possible. What should I be focused on, right? Ignite is designed to be that type of base for us. And real quickly, let me just make myself a co-host, if you don't mind, just so I can get people in a little bit easier. Sorry, guys, just working more.
Good morning, Philip.
Hey, good to see you, Christine. Glad you can make it on here, Christopher. All right, cool. Now I can see from here and not have to turn around and see if anybody's jumping on. All right, cool. So the design for Ignite is really for us to get granular on what needs to be covered. And when you guys did Ignite here or elsewhere, how many times did you guys do Ignite? By show of hands, 1 time, 2 times, once? Across the board, maybe once on Zoom as well. Would it be crazy to say that Ignite is something you do once a year at least? I mean, it's 12 classes. It used to be 20 or 16, and when I joined, it was 16, and they kind of combined some of those classes into one. They condensed it a little bit. Yeah, just kind of get a feel of the room. Can somebody take me through a real estate day, like your average realtor day, or real estate day? Anyone would like to share, or I'm very open. Yeah. Anyone online that would like to share kind of what they do on a regular real estate day? Oh, my bad.
Well, I'll jump in. I mean, obviously I start with the morning mindset. I know that this morning Amy made a comment about how she's not up at 4 a.m., but I know that Philip's up at 4 a.m.
I'm at like 5:15.
So everyone's a little bit different, but that's kind of how I kick off my day. Morning mindset. Then just goes into kind of the thing that I like about real estate is that it's different every day. Obviously, we want to try and stick with time blocking and looking for lead generating activities and that type of thing. One of the reasons I'm sitting in the class today is to kind of get a little bit back more on track with that. So that doesn't really talk about what my day's like, but
no, that's
I like when you made a comment, and I don't know if it was the team meeting, about how everybody should be previewing a certain amount of properties a week. And I think a lot of people I think that kind of got lost in the shuffle because of
same here.
COVID and things like that. So even though that isn't necessarily an income generating activity, it still is a real estate activity. It's making you visible to other agents, making your name relevant, that type of thing. Follow-up is always the most important part of real estate.
Mas agora eu vou ter que te desligar para me resolver.
Ryan Serhan, follow up, follow through, follow back, follow, everything about follow up. So I think that's probably one of the most critical parts of the day is following up on your leads, following up on your just even social calls, things like that. I'm gonna throw it back to you.
Awesome. Keep on going. That is when you sum up a day in real estate, it's how do you start professionally, right? I typically will be at morning mindset. Right before that, I'm just clearing through emails like, hey, what can I just get off the plate? Return emails to loan officers, to escrow, to our team, to other agents, whatever I can clear before 8 o'clock. From there, I go right into my first and 10, which is who are the top 5, top 10 people I need to call that first half hour that I jump on the phone, which is essentially 8:30. And then 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I work my hour of power, right? And that's really just calling and combing through my database. Who are usually I'll connect with no more than 7, maybe 10 people. It's only an hour. It's not like 4 hours, right? And when you look at Ignite, they talk about going granular. Like if you think big, it's like, oh, I'm going to go farm all of Calabasas. Well, good luck. I'm not doing that 4 times a year, right? So then you're like, okay, well, if I'm not going to farm all of Calabasas, I'm going to focus on this one neighborhood. Okay, well, this one neighborhood has 1,000 homes. Okay, well, if I'm going to focus on this one neighborhood, I'm going to focus on this specific part of the neighborhood that focuses on this type of house. It's single family, larger HOA, smaller HOA, larger price point, whatever it is. Now you're down to 250. So you got a little bit granular from, I don't know how many houses in Calabasas, I'm terrible, say 15,000 houses. You brought it down to 250 and you're going to start on this cul-de-sac, right? And our real estate business is no different. Like if you were to look at Ignite, they really focus you on a core activity called making 10 contacts a day. Every working day you choose to work. So it's already kind of setting you up for success that it's not every day, even when you have something else planned, it's on the days, it's ideally 5 days a week, right? Maybe Monday through Friday, or maybe Sunday through Thursday, adjusted for time off and all that fun stuff. But making those 10 contacts and high five, success. It doesn't say get 10 contracts a day. It doesn't say get 10 listings a day. That would be really cool, right? It doesn't say anything about closing escrows because we can't close an escrow every day without lining up the escrow pool, right? So part of that day is 10 contacts, writing 10 thank you notes. Hey, Philip, wanted to send you this letter or this little thank you card saying thank you for taking my call the other day. Really appreciate your time on the phone. Would love to connect more in the future, and mail that out. The other 10 that we're working on is adding to our database. Who here works a database, maybe an Excel spreadsheet, doesn't have to be command, but has a database of some kind, right? A lot of times this phone is our database to start, right? We start with this and we add those contacts in there on purpose. And when I say adding contacts, yes, we can do a mass upload of contacts from Facebook, from our phones, from Gmail. In this case, if you've already done the mass upload, it's like, who are the 10 people on that every day that I'm connecting with, leaving a message and then updating them so I can have them on some sort of systematic follow-up, right? If you do the math over the course of 6 weeks and we worked 5 days a week out of 6, that's 30 days, right? Give or take 6 weeks, that's times 5, 30 days. If all you did was make 10 contacts a day, updated 10 contacts onto your database, whatever that system is, that's forget me wrong, but that's 300 people that you will now every 3 to 4 months consistently call, touch base with, follow up with, while you're adding on another 300 for the next 6 weeks, right? And you're probably wondering, well, I don't think I know that many people, right? Who here, at least if you look at your cell phone, would probably say they have 500 people on this thing?
I have more.
Yeah, how many would you have?
Around 1,000.
1,000. There you go. If you're on an iPhone and you go to address book. Oh yay, we're getting a listing. Woo! All right. Fun times. Okay, so if you go to your address book and then you touch the little pound sign, I call it pound, you can call it hashtag, and then scroll to the very bottom. It says I have 2 contacts. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, mine says 2 contacts. I know there's way more on here than that, but it would actually give you a like.
What do you do?
So you go to contacts.
Yeah.
And then at the scroll to
Oh,
the
the
very
pound.
bottom has Z, or if you touch the pound sign and go to, hey, Monty, glad to see you here in person. And originally on there, for whatever reason, mine says 2 contacts. I know there's like way more. It's like 1,500 or some kind of crazy number. It says 0. Oh, that's weird. I guess all iPhones are dying out now.
Take away the pound sign and then go to front.
Oh, I took it away. I just went to scroll all the way down. Oops. And then it still says 2 contacts. That's so strange. Man, that's weird. I know on command we got like 4,000. Christine, fire away.
Hi, I have 1,367.
There you go.
No, I was just gonna comment, piggyback off of Kurt. And Kurt, first of all, Kurt and I had a conversation this morning exactly about that. How many hours, what do we do? And we're like, we do real estate all day, every day. But being, pinpointing, like you were saying, being more granular, I can't even say the word granular about it. And I love that you quoted Ryan Serhan from our book club, Kurt, and that's so true. Anyway, I was going to add to it about when you were asking about the day is that I am a big proponent of continuing education and growing. So I did Ignite 6 years ago when I came to KW, and we did, I think they were once a week for 12 weeks, 3 hours each night. So each chapter was very, it wasn't like the Saturday, you can't do it all in it, the whole book, it's too hard. So it was, I think, a deeper dive, which is what Filip is doing. I think you're trying to do, Filip. So I'm appreciative of that. And like the same thing, I went to family reunion. I want to go to mega camp. Why do I do that? That's to educate myself, to absorb it. I take all the classes that there are, whether they're for new agents, old agents, whatever, I want to take it. And so that's what I was going to add to what you said, Filip.
That's awesome. And then, so Christine's point, the fundamentals, regardless of the market, when I joined in 2014, the market was on an up climb, right? And in 2015, said, oh, the market's going to pop. It can't sustain this growth forever. And here we are, fast forward another, whatever it is, 7 or 8 years, and it's still kind of climbing, right? And it's still positioning itself, and we're still living in the market at the moment, yet we're preparing for the market that we may be going into next. And Ignite, what that really does for us, it gives us fundamentals that regardless of the market, we can build off of. And if you think of success as, hey, I need to get a listing every day, well, we're going to fail almost every day, right? And it's hard, you learn from your failures, but it's hard to just build on failures. You got to build on successful wins, on successful blocks, and then we can still learn from failures along the way, but all that does is propel those blocks forward, right? And if you define winning in the day as, I need to get a listing or a contract, you're still not getting granular enough, right? And we go one step before that. What gets us a listing agreement or a buyer contract or someone under contract? It's having an appointment, right? How do we get the appointment? Well, we need to have people who are interested in selling real estate and buying real estate, investing in real estate, some version of that. Well, how do we get to that point? How do we find those individuals or families or groups that want to pursue that? Well, we have to make contacts. Well, how do we make contacts? Well, we need to meet people, whether this is the easiest one, people that already we have saved on our phones, right? Or we need a list, or we need to go out, meet people, open houses, door knocking, whatever that calls for. I know, Edie, you have a farm, 2 farms, you have an incredible SOI, and you do open houses with your daughter, Brittany. I mean, you guys both do all those 4 things. So yeah, mother-daughter duo here. But in that, you can hit your 10 contacts a day, celebrate making 10 contacts. And as crazy as it sounds, when the pandemic started, I was like, oh my God, we just bought this house and the market's about to crash. That was my thinking. And then my coach was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, pick yourself up, get yourself back on track, and don't worry about yourself. Call other people and make sure they're okay. It was called our care call, right? And even to this day, it's 2022, we still make care calls. as an example, let's not wait until we start Ignite, but one of the things we're going to chat about is stepping into the market of the moment and making those calls to people in your database. Write out your top 25 couples or 25 people. If today was the Super Bowl and you got a private suite over down at SoFi Stadium, that bad boy can fit 50 people. We were there with Nettie and the whole team and all that fun stuff. And if you were to say, hey, I'm going to invite my 25 best friends and their spouses or one of their kids over to this event, those are the people that you would likely say, yeah, have a lot of care for them. They care for me. I trust them. They trust me. I like them. They like me. It's a very mutual. You wouldn't invite 25 complete strangers or 25 people who are kind of like on the bubble of your friends, right? You'd really invite your core group. And that, for me, that's a lot of family members, a lot of friends, some friends in the industry, right? Those first 25 people that come to mind, those are the ones you want to call and elicit their help, right? That first call is, hey, Philip, it's John, right? I'm just going, or Rachel calling me, hey, Philip, this is Rachel. Just wanted to connect with you and see how you're doing. Hey, I'm doing awesome. You know, you may know this already. You've seen my Facebook post or we've talked in the past. I'm here in real estate with Keller Williams, Calabasas. And the reason I wanted to reach out to you was to confirm that if ever you have someone that is looking at investing in real estate, selling real estate, especially in this market, that I'm top of mind and that you would highly likely recommend me. Absolutely. 100% do that. I had that conversation with my mom. She joked with me, said, no, I wouldn't do that. But that was my mom, you know, breaking my head a little bit. But that was all in fun. That's usually what a friend will do, right? They'll just kind of bust us up a little bit. But the point is that you can build on that type of momentum. Now, if you have like who you thought was like an awesome friend, like, oh, I don't know. I mean, you just started. Awesome. Well, you know what, Philip, that is a great point. And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm partnered with, and this is why I'm partnered with Fill in the Blank Office, because of the 300, I don't know how many agents we have now, like 350, I was told 400, the hundreds of agents that we have working with us. And when we look at our mentor program or productivity coaching program, whichever you want to intertwine in that, there's literally over 200 years of experience in that pool of realtors that I work with, of brokers that I work with. So anything that you have a challenge with, anything that your friends have a challenge with, we likely have the answer in-house with the group that I'm working with. And I used that when I was brand new, right? And those are some of the dialogue. It's a little bit more cleaned up in the dialogue, but it's in the Ignite scripts. And again, I'm not to throw the prior way of doing it under the bus, but there's just so much to digest, to Christine's point, that our hour to 2 hours that we get to do this when we start, we'll dive a little deeper. Before I would
add that in addition to having a team that supports you with the experience that you don't necessarily have, you're fresh out of education. So you've got all that education that you got in getting your license fresh on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So together, that's a very winning combination.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're still in that learning mode, and probably heard this when you guys were joining this office or other or a while back. The idea is constant, never-ending improvement. The market is changing like this. Cindy can testify to that in terms of what's, oh yeah, interest rates going up, Federal Reserve doing its thing, all those pieces. And because of that constant and never-ending change, it requires constant, never-ending improvement. Ignite, you know, it's like watching a really awesome movie. I think I've seen the movie Alexander like 50 different times, you know, the director's cut, the final cut, all the different versions of it. And you just like, oh my gosh, I never realized that. Or you watch Star Wars on Disney Plus, right? You watch Disney Plus now. Oh, there we go, couple fans. And I just saw Rogue One for the second time and thought, this is the best Star Wars movie ever. And I'm a nerd. But yeah, there's a lot of things in those movies I didn't catch the first time I watched it. Ignite and other training courses are very similar. What resonates with you early on might be different in year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. So what I have up here is kwconnect.com. And if for whatever reason you're ever like, where is Ignite? Where is training? Where are PDFs? For all the flack that KW gets in terms of accessibility, this is an incredible resource. So when you log in, the very first thing you'll see is, well, not my face, but you'll see your face if you haven't logged in already, your username and password. is the same username and password you use to access KW command. Okay, if for whatever reason you don't have it, if you just email Andrew or Alejandra, I believe it's MCA at Agent Services or kwcalabasas.com. But if you email them, they'll be able to forward your username and password, right? They will be able to pull that up. Huh?
Alejandra is KL. Her email is KLRW850@kw.com.
At 850. Wait, on the KLRW?
W850@kw.com.
Okay, I'll put that in the chat. And just in case you don't know your username or password, you can just go to them and you'll be good to go. So on this site, I honestly don't go through all of them. There's a ton of resources if you want to go through the whole thing. I am super simple. I just go to search, type in Ignite, search results, Ignite Classic. Here we go.
And this is good because I think sometimes we forget that this is here.
Oh yeah, totally. And if you want like the total cheat sheet, you can tap on instructor resource, and that's all the stuff any of the instructors will cover, right? I throw in a couple curveballs in there just to kind of relate to what we're experiencing in the market for the most part, or little help, tips and tricks that could work for us. There's the student resources. We'll have the printouts available for everybody who's in here in person. We'll drop it in the chat every morning that we're on Zoom. And then of course, you guys can still access the instructor resources at any time, right? If you want to be a real nerd, you can also purchase the material. I don't think you need to necessarily do that. For our purposes, and I'll put this in an email as well, and then get it blasted through the office. But one of the things you'll need is like your Ignite toolkit. Let's see if I can open that here.
Is that under resources?
Under resources, yeah. But if you go to the pop up, there it is. And go to download now. Oh, and then I have to open it here. I don't know if it'll actually open. Come on, Apple. And while that's doing its thing, aside from waiting for this to open up, what are some goals that people are looking for to kind of save a little bit of time? Section 1 is about goal setting. It's like finding your big why, and your big why fueling you to accomplish everything else. Oh, it's not showing because I need to change the share screen. But here we go.
Where'd you find that, Philip?
This one. Oh, it opens another window. I'm so sorry. I removed the window.
I'm sorry.
On here. Sorry guys, I'm technologically challenged. But after you download that version, or when you click under resources, it'll give you that download now button, and you can tap that and you can pull up toolkit for copies of checklists, handouts, job aid references, Ignite, and so forth. All right, we're not going to get into all of this right now, but I wanted to find out, and anyone on Zoom, if you want to chime in as well, kind of what are some of the goals that you're looking to accomplish while attending Ignite? This will be on for about 8 weeks, starting in 2 weeks in a 6-week course. But what are some things that you guys want to share with the team about why you're doing this and what you expect to get from it?
I'm always looking for fresh new approaches to things, or just reminders, or, our businesses are so close,
Yes.
that I can very easily pick up off of what you guys are doing and do something similar. So
Oh,
from
1000%.
my perspective, I just fresh new approach.
Yeah, I was thinking you literally replace the word listing with refinance, buyer with pre-approval, right? It's literally the same. They run parallel to it. We run hand in hand, actually. Rachel, what do you want to share anything? Or
I'm just learning new skill sets and just trying to improve.
okay, cool. Another question for you guys. What about who here is would be considered full-time in real estate? Awesome. And who here would be part-time in real estate? I'm raising my hand for both because some days it's full-time, some days it's part-time, right? Okay. Now, when we talk about full-time, what's a normal schedule like hours or time blocks from a start time to an end time would you say you guys have? I know end time's a little weird because I'm like, well, Phil, what if I need to show houses in the afternoon? Raul, fire away, sir.
Oh, sorry. I was just raising my hand to say that I'm part-time.
Oh, love it, man. Love it. Love it, love it. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Oh, I can. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do another share screen. And this is just an example of a schedule. Doesn't mean it's a schedule that I necessarily follow at 1,000,000%. So a little confession here. Now, obviously I'm gonna adjust it for Easter Sunday and our time away, but this is a normal, regular work week. I don't get up exactly at 4, but somewhere between 4 and 5:15, I'm up. I'm trying to get into the land of Veronica and Luisa, where they're up at like 4 crushing it, or 3 something crushing it. Everything purple is a family block, right? So we have Pax FC, Pax Romana stood for the peace and prosperity that existed within the Roman Empire. So I literally copied that and said the peace and prosperity that existed within the family Crispino. That's why it's Pax FC. And in that typical morning when they do have school, this will be a better example. 5:30 to 7 a.m. My wife's getting ready. I'm helping the kids get ready for school. And at 7, she takes them to school. At 7 a.m., I go start driving to the office. FC stands for Fight Club. That's my fun way of making my car into a classroom, right? So when I'm in the car, I'm listening to podcasts that will help me grow. I just recorded my prayer and my affirmation. So now I just play that in the car as I'm making my 15-minute drive to the office. When I get here, sometimes you might hear me repeat those affirmations or just kind of run through a script and role play for 5-10 minutes. For me, script and role play is just a quick fine tune. Oh, wow, never realized my tone is down. Great, let me adjust that. Right into 7:30, I call it my CAP. That is my calendaring, administration, action, and preparation. And I go through a 30-minute check through. I usually don't honestly do this part, the send out cards and the LCMP, like, comment, message, post on Facebook. Usually kind of do that during my just dead time in the day. And then I'm with you guys, with the exception of Monday. Monday is my coaching call with my MAPS coach. Otherwise, Tuesday through Thursday, repeat, rinse, repeat with you guys on the morning mindset. Christine, we're calling it morning mindset, not producer's mindset. Thumbs up. Woo.
I know. I was gonna ask you, Phil, because you shared the calendar with me before, and I was like, "What the heck is PAX FC? That must be something I need to get into." But now I see the family.
Just a family block. Oh, and MMM is my miracle morning. That's what that stands for. And like I talked about earlier, first and 10, make my first 10 most important calls or messages that must be completed or initiated. I say initiated because sometimes you start something and that person's not calling you back right away. Whenever they call you back, right? Hour of power, we talked about that. Making direct calls to my database, wherever I'm at. And then right now it's KW Flow. We have our team meeting usually on Tuesday, Ignite, Flow, Ignite, right? And then I have a ton of white space, different appointments set up. I actually preset, I'm a nerd, I preset my listing appointments. And what's crazy, when you actually put a date for a listing appointment, like, they magically appear. This week, my coach was on me because I've been moonlighting, but I've been working as the assistant team leader here and working as the rainmaker on our team. And he's like, Philip, where are the listings? You said you were going to keep on 1 week and you're down, or I took 3 and they're not going to be available till May. It's a long story, but no stories when you're being coached. So it's, we put up, instead of shut up, we put up 5 listing appointments this past week. So I actually had to add a couple of these to our week, which is kind of cool. Block time for my coach. But you see all this white space here, that's creative space. You got your lead follow-up, which you can move around if you need to. You have your QRF, that's my quick reactionary force time. That's basically the time I use to return calls and emails. Because when you start a ton of stuff in the morning, you actually need a funnel, a place to kind of return all those calls. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of your phone. Oh my God, I got another message, I got to reply to it right away. Oh my God, I got like 5 missed calls, I need to call them back right away. No. Be in the moment, right? You knock out your 10 contacts. I knock out my 10 contacts in the morning. Well, now I have my assistant sending out the thank you cards and all that stuff and updating, and I update my own database. But I made my calls, got my leads, got my lead follow-up. We're working through the day. Fast forward, so I might say, oh, great, I'm gonna move this up because I'm gonna knock out my lead follow-up since I don't have any appointments at that time. Great, I'm gonna work on returning all my messages before I pick up my kids. Puma is pick up Max, Alana, Asalea, right? And so again, you call it whatever you want, but I pick up my kids, I call it Puma. For lack of better phrases here. And then SDC, I just literally learned this from Flow, which is shut down complete. This is the time I use to say, okay, I am done with my email day. I'm not going to touch it the rest of the day. That is hard. It was hard to learn how to do that because we were constantly living in fear of, oh my God, what if I miss something? Or what if my clients aren't happy? Well, that's one of the first things in going into Ignite. I want you guys to learn versus learning it in session 12 is all of us online, all of us here, we determine our shut off time, our start time, right? Yeah. Not the clients, not your productivity coach, not your mentor, not your coach, not your TL, not the broker, you guys, right?
Philip, I wanted to comment on that for you. I wanted to point out about Philip's schedule. First of all, his priority is his family, and that everything else is important, but that's his priority. So he has it. I know when I was first, full-time in real estate, I felt like any minute that I wasn't doing real estate, I was behind. Like, oh, there's another class I need to do. There's another something. And so by setting that boundary of what was important to me, it actually freed me. Like it freed my time and had it more constructive, and knowing that, okay, at this time, I'm going to turn it off and do whatever I'm going to do. So that's really important. And the other thing about Philip was he's going to a seminar, but he's going to step out in the hallway during a break to do his lead gen and to do what he's keeping his calendar, even when he's not, in the office and working. So I commend you so much for that, Philip.
Thank you so much.
Taking the classes too is also a different mindset where you're at. Taking Ignite or anything that you're doing in real estate, Rich's Pisani's contracts classes, especially, or Louisa and her classes, is the different mindset that you're at. When I took that class 5-6 years ago, I'm not in the same place I'm at now. So now I'm absorbing differently. I get it differently. And that's what you guys will get from everything, including myself.
That's spot on. And to her point, yeah, I'm gone most of next week. It looks like all of next week. I'm going to see if I can fly back a day sooner, surprise my family. Oh, my wife's, I don't think my wife's watching. I'm keeping track of who's logging in. Yeah. But so I'm supposed to be gone Sunday through Friday, fly back that afternoon. The cool thing is it's Texas, so they're 2 hours advanced. I figure if I just started 2 hours earlier at 6 a.m., it'd be 8 a.m. here. So it'd be no different than if I were, present this way, right? So I can literally just adjust my time blocks when I'm down there and fit an earlier schedule. Just hop into Uber, get to the location, just make my little office hub, knock it out. And then it's like a long break. It's like an hour and a half. I'm not gonna drink coffee for an hour and a half, because there's probably things to do. So I can still effectively run our files, lead generate, follow up on whatever needs to get done. It's a very flexible schedule. It took quite some time for me to be okay with a flexible schedule, right? And then kind of going back to what Christine said, you create those borders. For me, we have young children, so picking them up at 3 o'clock and having that time together is incredibly important. Brenda, I think you have a child, and so spending, is it boy or girl? Boy, so you have your son, so spending that time with your son is key. And it's so cool because it's like, this is way more than enough time. For me, at least, from 7-ish till 2-ish, there's so much that can be done in that window of time. And it's just about optimizing. And another key thing was, outside of my hour of power and the training, I literally reduced everything to 30 minutes, 30-minute intervals. I do my best to get an appointment done in less than 30. When I'm doing a listing appointment, God bless, I just do the pre-qualifying. We're going to cover that in Ignite as well. But the pre-qualifying and listing, as much information as we can get ahead of time, as much of the motivation, as much of what their pain points are, as much of the net, all of those things we address on the phone or on Zoom. And you know what? I know we did a great job when they're like, cool, let's just get started. Haven't even seen the house. Great. We'll send you DocuSign. It will be exactly what we covered on the phone or on Zoom. And you can autograph when you're best available. And you know what? God bless this pandemic in a way, because at first it was fear. They didn't want me at their house, but they wanted to sell. Great, DocuSign, right? And then when kind of the pandemic was starting to slowly lift, we're like, oh yeah, you can come over, wear a mask, whatever. You know what? They were like, well, I don't want you here for a long time. And then so I was learning, oh great, well, I don't have 2 hours, which was like my average listing time, which is crazy when I think back on it. It was great, let's be effective. And now I love it so much, if they don't do DocuSign, I might send my assistant over to grab signatures if they're that comfortable. Or if you can kind of read on the phone, like, oh no, I really do need to pop in. I actually do need to see the house, take pictures for social media and whatnot, and then get the signatures. Awesome, right? But it becomes a fun thing. I bring my kids with me, oh, why don't you meet my assistant? This is Max. This is Max. So we even make it a little fun thing. So that's another thing too. When I'm picking up the kids in this space, especially on Thursday when they don't have, any like activities after school, I might plan to go visit one of my listings in Chatsworth if it's, if it's in the way. So now it's time with them. I can still knock out important appointments that require FaceTime with the clients. I blocked out, granted, I have some green here. My son doesn't like it when I watch him do, it's called GTA, Gooch Training Academy Jiu-Jitsu for my son. He doesn't like it when I'm like in the zone watching him. So I just use that time to return phone calls, return emails, post on social media, all that stuff. And then I pop in the last 10, 15 minutes, watch him kick some butt or get his butt kicked. It runs both ways. And again, you create that time. And if you notice here, I have no time in the evening, maybe except Wednesday, Fridays, where I'm not on a listing appointment at night. Contrary to what people say, I adopted something from Stephanie a while back, that the people you meet in the morning will likely be available for an appointment in the morning, right? What a concept, right? I come from an insurance background, so selling was always at night for whatever reason, right? So I would meet them during the day, go to their house at 9 and close the insurance deal, right? And I was brainwashed to think, oh, I need to be at the kitchen table at 6 p.m. at night, 7 p.m. at night, 8 p.m. at night, 9 p.m. at night to close deals. Real estate's quite different. If you tee it up right, set it up with them. Hey, Heather, right? So Heather, I would like to see your house during a normal daytime of daylight, the same way a buyer will see your home. In this market, and for safety purposes, we usually don't have clients preview our client's home at night. Obviously, when you're home and with kids and with dinner, it just doesn't make sense. Would it be okay if I pop by and met with you and your husband early Saturday, I mean, not this Saturday morning, but on a morning that works for you guys, or a weekend morning that works for you guys, or right before you pick up the kids or after you come home picking up the kids, right? And then you kind of bend it to your schedule. Now, if you do work at night, high five, then do all your appointments at night. It's just a matter of shifting perspectives, right? I base what I do on my kid's schedule, right? And when we don't have the kids anymore and they're doing something different, we might be doing something different. But until that time, this is it. Now, have I met clients after 6 o'clock? Absolutely. I usually do it here on a Wednesday at 7 or a Friday at 7, right? Where we have this white space, if it's an absolute must. Or I might do it, on a weekend. This weekend looks like we have the Kirk School, so my wife has access. We just saved the dates here. So on the 30th, for example, we have that's the 30th, but we have Camp Bree actually, so I can't actually do that. Sorry guys, I'm like a nerd for my own calendar. Let's go to today. There you go. So if I go to Saturday, we are traveling. We have Easter egg hunt. The traveling has been pushed out, but I would then say, okay, great. I can meet you on Saturday at 2 or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. One of the genius moves, and I didn't want to make this all about scheduling and planning, but I want you to see how you can fit Ignite into your world, right? As opposed to fitting your world into Ignite or fitting your world into real estate. Because the most important key in doing Ignite or any kind of training program is that you got to set your boundaries, your priorities, and then everything else can fit into it. The cool thing about having this recorded and on Zoom, it's like, okay, you know, my son has a science fair day and he goes up at 9:45. There's no way I'm gonna be there and then travel back. Awesome, let me just watch that one recording. No big deal, right? Or hey, I'm gonna be away out of town, family plan vacation. I do want to be live and present. I can block off the 1 hour, sit in the hotel lobby and attend Ignite, right? Or just watch the recording. High five to that too. So I believe in a concept called bend but don't break. Super simple concept. Be flexible, not rigid, right? You know, so that's kind of that focus. Anyone want to stop me and have any questions of anything we've covered so far? Kind of time blocking, having priorities, all that fun stuff. Yeah. All right, cool. Any aha moments that someone would like to share, or on Zoom or here in the classroom?
I think it's better having the visual
Mhm.
because everything stays here with me. So writing it down or actually having an Excel sheet or something on the computer where you're actually able to see your schedule, I think it might work better.
Awesome.
Get it all in my head.
And you know something, one of the Tuesdays, so I've offered to Stephanie, the team, and that any Tuesday we don't have a team meeting, I'll just teach an open-ended class on whatever we want to cover. Last week or the last one we didn't have a team meeting, we did templates on your listing template and buyer template for cart form. Right now you just access the base, you just go through, watch that video, or we can cover it again. If you guys want to do one on setting up a Google Calendar or that merges onto your iPhone or Android, we could set that up too. I love that. That's nerdy stuff. I enjoy it. Yeah. There's a lot of other stuff I have no idea how it works, but this one thing I actually know how to set up a Google Calendar. That's one magic power. Well, you guys have way more. That was just the one. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Anything else? I know Raul, you had your hand up. Or you were just saying, heck yeah, I'm in.
Hey, Philip, it's Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing this. For me, 3 months within being in the real estate business, I feel like it's been a challenge because I do work pretty much full time, and I do have a 2.5-year-old. So scheduling has been definitely one of my biggest challenges, and knowing, you know, okay, when do I focus on real estate when I'm not at work, and eventually what can I do to become full-time in real estate while I'm part-time into it. So this is actually very helpful, and I feel like every day I'm learning and I'm figuring out different ways to make it work and make it happen. So I just wanted to say thank you. And if there's anybody that's also can relate with me and who's working full-time and who has kids, I'd greatly appreciate some good suggestions. Thank you.
Suggestions? I have a few. Anyone would like to share like how they balance that out, or?
For me, it's like with the block out. I have 7 kids, so I have to block out.
Wow.
Just taken away. I got 4, but that's like nothing.
Well, Lisa told me in the beginning to like let her know, you know, what is your open space during the day. So mine is 9:30 to 1 o'clock, and that's all the real estate time I have because my day doesn't actually end until about 9 o'clock at night. So.
Wow. Well, there you go.
And prayer. Keep that first.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, the values of the company, God, family, business, or universe, family, business, however you see it. And if you just keep that in alignment, and now my coach threw in a really cool monkey wrench into that. He said God, family, wealth, and business. And you almost think of what we do, like you have to get those calls from Off City or some BS call from whoever, or those mailers or emails. Okay, if you find a deal where it's like 500,000, let us know. We'll let you represent us. Well, F you. You know, I really do want to say F you. I do it more nicely, and I'll tell you what I say. But it's like, well, if I found such a smoking deal, why wouldn't I just go to Monty or here or us in the office and pull together and get property ourselves? If someone told you, hey, I want to sell my Canoga Park home for 300. Yeah, I know I can sell it for more, but I need $300,000 tomorrow. Dude, we're gonna find that money. Right? And I'll go to Cindy to refi so I can get the cash out of it. But you know, that's what I mean. Like, take that away from the people who say, hey, let me represent them. Anyways, but to answer Jessica's question, I should have early on, when I was on the fence about doing real estate full-time or doing financial services full-time, I think I could have made an easier transition if I partnered with somebody. You know, if I said, cool, well, Veronica knows this business incredibly well. You know what? I can work these hours. You know, I can work this 1 hour from 1 to 2:30, right? After that, oh my gosh, I got to get the kids from school, got to get them ready for this, that. I'm not available again until 8 o'clock, 8:30 when they're just showered and ready to go to bed. And then I'm ready to go to bed. So then it's more of a matter of, okay, let me find a partner that I can work with. And if this is just an example, guys, but it could be higher or low or whatever. But if we just did 50-50 right down the middle, is it worth my time, that hour and a half, to produce appointments and leads? And we split a commission that's $25,000 and I take home $12,500 for an hour and a half. You know, I mean, you kind of have to weigh that personally. I think it's awesome. You know, I didn't have that mindset. I came from a place of fear and thought, oh, I need every dollar, right? I need everything because I don't know if I'll get another deal. Was kind of like my mentality. So I'm confessing a little bit. Hopefully that helps somebody overcome the same mistakes I made. Fear of missing out. Heck yeah, right? That's Raul up there.
It's not just about the time, right? Time is one thing, but it's more about energy. So you only have a certain amount of energy every day.
Yep.
And it depends on what you're spending energy on, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you start your day with crap stuff that is just sucking energy away, then even if you have 3-4 hours left, you don't feel like doing anything, right? And sometimes you don't control stuff that you have to do. So just to make sure when you do things you don't really like to do, keep your energy contained, so that you spend it on things that really matter later, right? It's a balancing act. I mean, I balance 4 or 5 different businesses. Some of them are my own startups and all that. And some of them I just have to because I just call. I just got. I was sitting here. I thought, hell, I'm not taking any call, and this guy looked at me and messaged me. Call me back now. So I just take one call. But the point is to use your energy, conserve your energy, and put it in the right place. That's the main thing. Watch your energy mostly more than watch your time. That's
100%. I just turned mine off because it's an Apple computer and the battery is like dead. I don't know. They're telling me to replace it. But man, Monty, that's incredible. It's also, where are you the most effective? It took me a while to realize that some of us start our day at 9 o'clock. Well, dang, if that's our best window of time from 9 to 2, let's maximize it. Right? There's no right or wrong in entrepreneurship. There's people who are megally successful working from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. You know, I met a realtor when I first joined and knew I could do this when he said that he would wake up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Single guy, right? Wake up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, start his calls around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and be on listing appointments in person around 8 and 9 o'clock. And what made total sense was that he focused, at the time, this is 2014, right? So he focused exclusively with distressed sellers. And he knew that everyone was calling a distressed seller from 8 a.m. until 5 o'clock, and they would quit, right? Not him. He would call when they were actually home after work and clearing through, or maybe just deleting all the answering machine numbers that when we had answering machines, I guess. They would go through that. He would get them around dinner time or when they're doing dinner prep, and then he would schedule and meet them for a time after dinner. And he would get them to sign listing agreements to sell their home. Sometimes they actually made money. Sometimes he just got away from bad debt, right? But that was his thing. And then it evolved for him. It evolved in a way that fit his next schedule because he became mayor of the city of San Fernando, right? And so all of a sudden he had to adjust his schedule again. But that was his life for a period of time, and then it changed, right? And then my life was similar. I used to take my kids to school, so I didn't actually start working here until 9, right? Or at the other office, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Made adjustments, you know. Any questions about that before we summarize and close? Any questions on Zoom? All right. Well, first things first. Homework assignment, three assignments, just 3. Maybe 3.5, right? Number 1, have a goal. Could be outrageous, own the Lakers, which they'll probably go up for sale at some point, right? Be a part of that ownership group. No, whatever that goal is, have that goal. I don't care if you think it's small, if you think it's crazy huge, just have a goal, right? And it doesn't, and we're not doing the whole, oh, it's got to be done in 1 year. No, just whatever that goal is, just write it down. It doesn't even have to be real estate related, right? Just have a goal. Number 2 is define your boundaries. This is the time I start. This is the time I shut down complete. Meaning I just will not touch this thing unless I'm playing Words with Friends. Right? Or going on Facebook and Instagram. I started playing Words with Friends again. It's a lot of fun. And like, yeah. So have a start, have a finish. Number 3 is write out the top 25 people and their spouses that you would have with you at a giant event. I just chose the Super Bowl because I went to SoFi Stadium, didn't go to the Super Bowl. You know, we did the fun vacant tour of the building. That was kind of cool. Whatever big event that you have in mind, my wife wants to go to a Manon concert when they're back around in town again, right? She has her top 25 list, slightly different because she won't have my mom on there. But yeah, we have our own top 25 lists. Who would those people be? And then the 3.5 in that, or if you want to call it the 4th thing to do, is call those people and tell them how much you care about them. Don't ask them for business. Don't say, you don't even have to tell them you're in real estate right now. Just tell them, just let them know how much you care about them. Now, as a bonus, yes, lead generate, make calls, do different things, but for your top 25, that's all you need to do. All right. And then what we do start, oh, should have closed it. I closed it my phone. The first class, or our first Ignite together, I believe is April 20th. That's a Wednesday, right? We'll make everything available online ahead of time as much as possible. We'll have printouts for those of us who are here in person. And for those on Zoom, if you don't check your emails, we'll make sure to drop it in the chat box several times so that you guys have it. And I'm a nerd. You save everything on PDF, totally fine. But I would take the printouts and just make a binder out of it, and then make that your go-to, because this is something you're going to go back to. You're going to make highlights. You're going to take down notes. You're going to write ideas in there. You want to flush out that stuff. That's not a homework assignment. That's just something we'll pursue. You got 7 minutes left. Anybody have anything, or you guys are good to go, ready to rock and roll and go from there?
Hey, Philip, is the binder going to be available for new people if they want to buy it like we had in the, olden days? I still have my binder. You can, it was that we were able to purchase it and all the pages were in there with tabs and everything. Do you know?
Oh, I actually don't know. I know there's an option to purchase something on there.
We used to have them in the office for purchase. So I don't know, it might be worth finding out, because I love that I have my book and, it's a hard binder and all the pages are, different than a Xerox paper.
That's a great point. Maybe I can ask Andrew and Stephanie.
I think it was like $40 or 30, I don't remember, something like that. Okay.
Cool. I'll ask them. There you go. So if we want copies, I guess we can buy them too. Or just
Is there a cost for the course? I missed a little bit of the meeting.
Which one?
Is there a cost for the course, or is it?
4 easy payments. I'm doing no, this is, it's funny you mentioned that. So, I'm asking you guys, what do you guys expect to get out of it? I actually have expectations too. I actually feel like the more you guys teach, whenever any of us are teaching something, we actually learn more from it than the actual students. So me having an opportunity to share Ignite and explain Ignite from these eyes, and then learn from you guys on how you guys are seeing it, how you guys are interacting with it. It actually shores up some of my weaknesses, which is performing within a true and sound system. I am a gunslinger. I will just figure stuff out. See you, Heather. Take care.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. But Ignite, Ignite is something that's systematic, right? Like I live a relatively systematic schedule, but there's so much chaos in it. Like people shouted me on phone calls and said, Philip, all you did was listen to them and repeated a couple questions. Yeah, that's what that is. right? It's being a human being. I feel like in sharing Ignite, it makes me more fundamentally sound, more disciplined to this. And at the same time, I think as you guys are succeeding, we get to kind of build off of that energy and look at it. In June, when we're done, or in May, we'll be done in June. And then we get right into bold. How cool would it be to have 5 listings, 5 under contract, maybe a deal closed in that time frame, with a systematic way of like, oh wow, and I have like 300, 400 people to like follow up with later in the summertime, as I'm now adding 20 contacts a day to this machine. Now you're just adding kerosene, right? You're adding fuel to the fire, right? So that's kind of my expectation of it is A, I get better from doing this, and B, collectively, we get to hold each other accountable to higher standards. We'll also start a group chat with the WhatsApp exclusive to Ignite and in this format. It doesn't have to be listings and pitches. It's really, hey, I hit my 10. Hey, I'm having trouble like writing notes. How are you guys writing full on thank you notes in less than an hour? You know, that was one of my problems. My handwriting is terrible, right? You know, hey, I'm having trouble with Cato Command. It'll be a troubleshooting center. So these are just some little things that we want to accomplish. And then we'll grow from there.
Can I share a quick phone hack?
Yeah, please, definitely.
So it took me a long time to figure this one out, but every now and then I'd call somebody and they'd answer the phone, hi Cindy. And then I was like, oh, you know, it always kind of like made me feel special. You know? And so I eventually started to put everybody in my contacts. For some reason in the beginning, they had to be important to go in my, be listed in my contacts. I don't know why, but now I put everybody in there, especially if it's a prospect that I called. And then when they call me back and I pick up the phone and say, hi, John, or whatever, I can hear that, oh, you know, kind of tone in their voice. And I just found that to be very helpful.
That's
I
huge.
can add to that a little bit. So what I did, my calling list, I just put them into a spreadsheet, I put it into my phone. So I have 14,123 contacts in my phone right now. Everybody I called and everybody in this 10-mile radius is on my phone.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's
That
no
has the
limit
numbers.
to how many contacts you can have.
Yeah.
So why
Wow.
not?
They don't charge us extra, right? That's funny.
14,000 on
Yeah. So just check when you asked this, I was walking in that and check how we have right now.
Dang, I felt cool about 4,000. I got to step up.
So actually, what happened was, you know, I went to some party or I met somebody for the first time and they told me their number. I put their number in my phone and I already have it, right? Not only that, I know when they bought their home, how much it costs and everything in my phone. One day I was looking at me like, hey, how do you have all this information about me? I said, well, sorry, you know, I just have it. I don't want to say anything more. But I literally have like numbers of and information of people that I've not even met.
People think I have a great memory. My memory sucks, but I'm good at taking notes.
Bingo. I mean, I had a guy call me Bong and he's like, hey, Philip, I qualified to buy a house now. I'm like, good for you, right? I'm like, awesome. And what was impressive is the part that impressed him was exactly that. I had notes on my phone from when I met him, when I used to keep them on my phone. And I went back to command, and when we had uploaded his notes had transferred, and there it was, all the interactions I had saved from EH, right? And I didn't realize it. Oh man, I even showed him homes. We failed in escrow, all this stuff. And he went back. He said he's been getting all the emails. I'm like, oh, thank you, campaigns. You know? So I totally forgot about all that stuff. But you know, you just never know. But yeah, guys, that's that. I mean, keep plugging away. I mean, I don't want to give you guys too much. I think from a big picture standpoint, if we just knocked out those 3 things as part of our pre-launch, awesome. In the next week and a half while you're doing it, just feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Make those calls. Make those calls early, and then once you hit the 25, it's like, well, that felt great. Well, call the next 25 and let them know the same thing. A care call is simply just checking in and seeing how they're doing, what they've been up to, what they have planned going on. Nothing to do with real estate that first call out. Yeah, we can focus on the real estate questions afterwards, but naturally if Edie calls me and says, you know, how are things going? Just really thinking about you and Monica and the kids. Gosh, what do you have planned for the spring break? you know, how's work? At some point, I'm gonna ask her, like, by the way, what's been happening in your world? You know, I mean, the last time we were at TAP together, holy cow, oh yeah, I've been doing real estate with Brittany full time. Oh, no way. Why do you mention that? I need to sell a house.
That's cool.
That is typically, I kid you not, that is my normal phone call on a daily basis, because we're focused on our sphere or people that we've gotten to know over years. I mean, I do have people I've cold call and now they're almost like friends taking a call from me and we have never met, right? We've never met in person. I send them a card, find them on social media, we connect there, and we still haven't met in person, you know. But those are some fun little things. So guys, thank you guys so much for being online. Thank you for being in person. Oh, we got a hand raised. Is there a hand raised or is that just